All right. Okay. We are live. All right. All right. What's going on, people? Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So, yeah. Let me just before we get started, let me just get everything ready. Let me send out the link to my social medias, and let's get crack-a-lacking, as Chris Rock would say. Okay, we got one person watching. Okay, I don't know who that one person is. You can comment. Definitely comment. Okay. Okay. Wait. Oh, I sent the wrong one. Did I just send the wrong one? I think I did. See, I still don't know how to send the links here. I can't believe me. I'm such a fool. I mean, I know I'm a fool, but now you guys are gonna know I'm a fool too. Well, I mean, you've seen me live, so you know I'm a fool. It's okay. I'm used to it. It's all right. You don't have to feel sorry for me. I don't want pity. Well, sometimes I don't want pity. Well, sometimes I don't. Don't worry, people. What the hell? Are you kidding me? No. Oh, god damn it. Okay, good. No. What the Oh my trackpad. What the hell? See, I've been having this. Okay, I had this issue this week with my trackpad. The reason why I haven't been on YouTube in a while is for 2 weeks because of this damn trackpad. And going to the Apple Store, everything's been so kind of fogged up because of COVID, and it took them a while to repair it. Well, one week we were wondering if I was gonna have to buy a new one because it said there was gonna be so much expense. It was gonna be really expensive to repair it. So I thought, why not get a new one? But it ended up being the cost ended up not being that bad. They were gonna charge more if I wanted to get it visually done, but I didn't care for that. I just needed the trackpad to work because that was the only thing that was needed work. But now, just like I don't get it. Like they've worked on this for a week and it's still being okay. All right. Oh, thank God. I thought I was gonna have to shut down the live stream. Okay. All right. Good. Did I? What the hell? What the hell? Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, I know. You're seeing me operate like on the computer like right now. So, okay. I don't know. Has anybody commented yet? I mean, I don't know if anybody's seen this trash yet of mine. See, I'm being humble. I'm comparing my videos to trash. See, I'm not. I don't have a big ego, guys. I don't. All right, now let's go to Instagram. I will put this now. Because you have to put it in your bio because on Instagram, because you can't if you put it on the story or even on your post, the link's not gonna go through. So I just gotta go to my bio and do that. So let me go to my Instagram and hold on, guys. We're gonna get started. Don't worry, we're getting a little late. I'm sorry already for the delay, but here. Okay, ready. I keep forgetting that I changed my name on YouTube. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think I explained the reason why I've changed my name. It was just because it was it used to be RADIGAN'S Corner because I wanted a fun name, but then I realized it's probably better to have me just be my name because the only people that really I feel are good with using a name that's not theirs as if they're a gamer and stuff like that, and I'm not a gamer and stuff like that. My friends would know that I'm not a gamer. I'm not a huge gamer. I'm the complete opposite of everybody because I'm a huge music nerd, a big music nerd. And if you hear in the background, it's my sister laughing. I think she's trying to be like Cruella de Vil or something. I don't know. I just don't know anymore. Simple as that. Wow. God, I'm slipping here. I don't even know where I'm gonna. Yeah. Whoever's watching, if you want to comment in the chat, get it started. And if you're watching this, send this to your friends. Have your friends watch this too. This is something I want a lot of people to watch if they can. I'm also gonna like. I think I'm gonna also what I did do what I did the last time is have this on Instagram Live too. If people don't want to go to YouTube or if they can't get to YouTube and just aren't on Instagram. I mean, I know it sounds weird. Anybody can get to YouTube, but they just want to stay on Instagram. If you know what I mean. So yeah. I want to give people options. Yeah. All right. Let's just see. I know this is really slow, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really starting right now. I'm calling it Rock and Stream because we're going to talk about some rock in this stream tonight. And yeah, over here you see, I got my posters. I have my Elvis poster, my $1 Million Quartet poster with Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash, which was in 1956, was this legendary recording session when, Elvis was already the biggest star. Jerry Lee Lewis was sort of gonna be a star. He didn't have a whole lot of Shaking in Great Balls of Fire yet, but he did have a song that came on the radio called Crazy Arms, which was originally by Ray Price. So yeah, and it was this legendary recording session that then later became a Broadway play, and thanks to Sam Phillips from Sun Records, because the reason why they're all four together is in Sun Records because they were all members of that. They were all a part of that label. Well, Elvis was originally part of that in 54 and 55, but then got signed to RCA in the end of 55 and started recording, major hits in 56. Like, like when he became a big superstar was in 56, 54 and 55. He was like, just getting started. Almost like the Beatles, like, like in 64 was their big year. I mean, 62 I mean, I think it was a little different for the Beatles because I think the Beatles were like already big in their whole country, but like Elvis, I feel like was more in 55 and 54 was just different in like, but it was just big in the South, he wasn't big really in like New York area or like the East yet, really. Like it wasn't really like till he became a national star until like until 56, until he played on the Dorsey Brothers stage show, which I gotta say, by the way, the Dorsey Brothers stage show is probably the best clips you'll see of Elvis if you ever want to watch him perform, because like, oh my god, it's just what an Elvis performance should be. Honestly, it's Elvis like at acoustic guitar and the mic. He's got his band, Scotty Moore on guitar, Bill Black on bass, and DJ Fontana on drums. Just the four of them. And it's funny because they always credit Buddy Holly for being like the first musician to whatchamacallit, have a band like, just like two guitars and drums and a bass. That's not always the case. Like he wasn't the first. I mean, yeah, he was one of the first, but it was really Elvis because Elvis came before Buddy. And yeah, I mean, so yeah, no, and Elvis had that with the bass, the guitar. Yeah, because Elvis played technically rhythm guitar technically when he would play guitar. I mean, there was sometimes he would just sing, but yeah. And it's funny because over the years I've looked up, like with Elvis was actually like very like musically talented too, and all that. He was really like he actually really could like pick up like music notes and all that stuff, and like piano notes and all that. And like, no, it's really cool. I mean, that's just I guess how like when you're a musical genius, All right, let me just story this. Okay. All right. Sorry, that's a dead pause. That's not good. Long pause. I don't know. All right, now I'm gonna try something because I did this the last time. Let's see where am I at. Okay, good. All right, let's see. I'm also okay. We got two people live. Oh, okay, Anthony's live. Hey, Anthony. All right, yeah. I almost said Anthony's going live. See, I don't know how to talk, but yeah. It's funny because usually Anthony. If you don't know his channel, DJ Mega Aim Production 17. Yeah, I'm doing a shout out right. You didn't even ask, Anthony. See, that's how good of a friend I am. See, yeah, he has this channel where he does this podcast called Always Late to Everything. It's a great podcast where we just talk about entertainment. I happen to sometimes even be on the podcast, and he's got another podcast called Chronically Chill, which is about people with disabilities or medical conditions. Anthony has cystic fibrosis, and and he has a few other guests too. You can put a link in the channel, Anthony, if you want. Yeah, and let's get started. I'm gonna go on Instagram Live, and let's see. I'm gonna go live here, and why does my camera look like fog there? Oh, that's horrible. I don't know. My camera looks a mess. I don't know. It might be the lighting. I don't know what the hell it is. No, it might just be my screen or the way I'm seeing it. I don't know. I hope it's just that. No, I can't do that. No. Okay, see. I'm just trying to test. Okay. All right, I'll just leave that there. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's see if I can be really professional and stream on Facebook and 3 cameras. If I do that, if I can stream on 3 cameras, I just it's gonna show in my mind that wow, I can actually be a content creator. I'm actually good at production. If I do that, see, I'm gonna be really happy. Okay. All right. So I see Trevor Noah's going live. Wow, I'll compete with Trevor Noah going live. I wonder, is it possible more people will watch me than Trevor Noah? I don't know. No, of course not. I am just on fire tonight, right? I'm so on fire. Okay, we have a third person watching. Show yourself, third person, if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to. I mean, hey, that's fine. I'm just so neutral right now. It's hey, show yourself. No, you don't have to if you don't want to. If you want to invade your personal space, but no, if you don't want to invade it, hey. But why don't you make some friends? It might be good if you do it. So why don't you join in? Come on, we don't hurt. Nobody bites here. I don't bite. I stopped biting a year ago. I used to bite a lot. You knew that was a joke, right? I'm not. Wait, am I live now? Wait, I can't tell if I'm live. Okay. I don't think I was live. I thought I was live on Instagram, but I guess I wasn't. You're live. No, I know I'm live here. I'm live. No, I mean going on Instagram. I know. Yeah. No, I'm also going live on Instagram. But hey, what's up, Peter? How you doing? Okay. All right, checking the connections here. Let me go on Facebook. Are you alive? Yeah, I'm alive. Why are you asking that question? What's up with that? Wow, we have 2 people watching. Okay, wow, cool. All right, so what's going on, people? How you doing? All right, let's see if we can get live on Facebook now. All right, yeah, just got to access the camera. Okay. Whoa, okay. I'm not used to it because my iPad is so big at the moment. Okay. Okay, this might not work. Let's see. Oh, okay. This might not be that bad. All right, cool. I look so big on here, but yeah. Okay, yeah. All right, so okay. Now let me introduce myself to the people live on Instagram and Facebook right now. So, if you don't know, I'm live on YouTube, but I decided I'd go live on Instagram and Facebook as well, just for for kicks. Hey, what the hell? So, that's what I decided to do. And yeah, and you are tuning in to this great progress of great progress. Okay, all right. Anyway, no. So what's going on? All right, what's going on with everybody? Everybody doing well? You getting vaccine? Yeah, no, I'm not yet. I haven't been able to be on the list yet, but my sister is. What about you? Have you got it yet? All right. Let's see. Is anybody watching on Facebook? Oh, so one person's watching. I don't know. If you want to say hi on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Go ahead. All right, cool. Oh, you can't get it. Oh. Like when exactly? Didn't you say you had COVID though? All right. So yeah, if anybody else wants to, respond, go ahead. But I think why don't we get started more into the meat of this? Oh, okay, just your family did. Okay. How are you streaming on Facebook? Oh, I'm streaming through my iPad. Like, see, what I'm doing is, if people want to know the magic, I'm live streaming on my laptop, live streaming Facebook on my live streaming on Facebook on my iPad, and yeah, live streaming on the phone. Yeah. All right. Okay. Oh, hey, what's up, Nick? How you doing? Okay. All right. So yeah. All right. Let's go into the meat of the things today. So a few things I wanted to talk about. I've been in such a music mood lately. I mean, honestly, I gotta say, because like these past few months, it's been sort of depressing. I don't want to keep going on because I know like everybody COVID is everywhere and all that stuff, and people talk about it all the time because I mean everybody's living it. But I don't want to go too into it too much. But I'll just say like just because of the times in the moment, it just can get depressing and stuff like that. And sometimes I get into interest in new things, but I've been going back to really like like really getting into listening to certain artists and stuff like that. And I've been on a real like the band kick and Crosby, Stills and Nash. I mean, of course, there is a band called The Band, because I remember some people would be like, wait, there's a band called The Band? And I'm like, yeah, no, they were. They were Bob Dylan's backing band actually for a little bit, and then they became their own band. And yeah, and that was the joke. If you've seen the movie The Last Waltz, it was their last concert, and they had all these guests that came in, and it was directed by Martin Scorsese, and it was in the late 70s. It was really good. You should do more prank call YouTube videos. So yeah. God, I haven't done a prank call video in like almost over 2 years. That was like a one-time thing where we like did like a pizza prank video, something like that. It was some kind of kick that we got out of it, at the time. I mean, like who knows? I mean, like I try to do like any like like I've done like other goofy videos like that recently too sometimes. Anything it's I feel like anything I can do that I find like would be a good video, or what at least I think. I mean, something it's like just because what I think is a good video, it's not what everybody else thinks is a good idea. But if I'm because I'm the one creating it, I'm the only one that can think of what would be good at the moment, considering that. I mean, of course, you're the audience and you be the judge if you want to keep liking my videos or watching it and all. But yeah, no, so I've been on a real like kick of like listening to the band and all that. I mean, good songs like The Wait and all that. And which reminds me is like last night, and I posted on my Snapchat of me watching. I mean, I've seen The Last Waltz like once before, and I was watching this, but you forget sometimes when you haven't seen some stuff. So I was watching them do The Wait with the Staple Sisters, and whatchamacallit, yeah, I mean the Staple Sinners, not the Staple Sisters. But anyway, whatchamacallit. So no, yeah, they did do it of the Wait, and honestly, it's just like it's so incredible if you watch it. I mean, the band is already like got like that good soulful roots, but when you've got like the Staple Sinners, who are like known as like that big that legendary gospel group, like who is like really just got amazing voices. I mean, a song I know of theirs is "We the People." But like it's funny because I think I've heard their stuff on the radio before, but I actually knew more of that. I knew that song actually from I think years before too. But like the reason why I got more into it again was it was on I heard it when Biden was giving a rally when he was still running for president. That song was playing, and I thought it's a really good song, and yeah, and no, they're just like a soulful group too, and them together with the band. I mean, it's like you sometimes can't tell, like they honestly shine more than them. It's like because even though it's the documentary is about them and it's their movie, yeah, and like they're just and the Staple Centers are just like featured in it. You sometimes think it's like it's the Staple Centers that are the ones that are really performing, and it's like who's this Canadian band that's with them, backing them up, but like I mean, it's just I can't like really describe in like words of how like soulful it is, and just how like it's in your face of how like the passion in it, the blues. I mean, Levon Helm as a drummer is always a good. I mean, one of the best singing drummers of all time. Really is. I mean, damn. I mean, he just plays that really well. You got like Robbie Robertson on that what's that thing? Like the 12-string guitar? Yeah, he's playing that 12-string guitar. And you got and then Rick Danko, because Levon Helm sings most of the song, but Rick Danko sings the last verse. And how he does it in like this movie, I mean, like I think I've heard talks that they were like on drugs, or they might have been like on drugs or something. Like and Rick Danko looks like he might have been like on a drug or something like that, because he's like very like he's really like shaken. I mean, it could just be like he's just doing like a fidgeting move, like I don't know, like a Joe Cocker kind of thing. But like, yeah, he just keeps like going back and forth, and like he just but like the funniest thing is because on the record, like when it came out in '68, like he just sings it very simple and stuff like that. But in the movie, which came out in '78, but the concert was actually done in '76, so this was all done in like November '76, and like, but like he just like it pops out of you, like he's just like is like going so into it, Danko, and it's crazy how like good it is, and just how like yeah, I mean no, it's a great song, great that version is great. The studio version, of course, is good too, but definitely check out the band and the Staples Center's doing the wait. It will blow your mind. It will. And so other things I want to talk about, before we go into what I really want to talk about, let's go into a little bit more of music news. So I know soon we're gonna have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Is anybody interested in that, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because I have a few thoughts on that, like, because, like, I know a few people that I've heard of the nominations, like, and some are, I believe it's about time, and, like, why they haven't gotten in yet, I don't know. Like, for instance, like, people like Tina Turner and Dionne Warwick. I mean, okay, Tina Turner, I get it, because, like, Tina Turner was, like, more as a solo. I think she's in as, like, Ike and Tina Turner. I'm not exactly sure on that. I gotta check that out. But, like, I think she's already inducted for that. I would think. If she's not, then they would have to be for that too. I think they are, but, anyway, yeah, so I can get why, like, now, because, like, her as a solo artist was more in, like, the 80s and stuff like that, and a lot of more of the 80s artists are, like, getting more recognized now, as much, like, so, like, yeah, and of course, like, some of, like, some early 90s even are getting recognized now, but anyway, whatchamacallit, so yeah, her Dionne Warwick, that's about time. I mean, I can't believe that it's 2021 and Dionne Warwick has not been inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet. I kind of find that crazy, because she was she was like a big voice in the '60s. I say a little prayer for you. Do you know the way to San Jose? No, I mean, and then I think we have some hip hop groups. I think is Biggie Small. Oh, was that last year? I think Biggie Smalls, and I forget who's in now. Who's getting in? I think it's some big rapper. If you know it, put it in the comments. But like, I sometimes wonder, like, I get it, like with hip hop, that like, like, because it was like I was taking a while to like. I was debating this for a while. I'm like, should rappers get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or like the new artists get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because I'm like, when I think of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think of people like the Beatles, Elvis, like the '60s, '70s people. I don't think of rap that much, or like even like the new artists, because I'm like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen in the next few years? Are they gonna put like Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber when they get qualified? I mean, come on, I don't think that's a good idea, and a good message. I mean, and a good precedent of where they're going if they want to keep it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Maybe they should just call it the Pop Hall of Fame. I think. Oh, LL Cool J. Okay, yeah. No, I mean, I know I mean, like I give him credit for him as a rapper and all that stuff, and it's just like no. And I because I was wondering for a while, like, should rappers be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Shouldn't there just be like a rapper Hall of Fame or hip hop Hall of Fame? But if you think about it, though, hip hop really is, though, originated from rock. Like it is just another subgenre, because of course you have the subgenres like the glam rock, new wave and stuff like that. I never really thought of hip hop or rap I guess it's like because hip hop is the real name for rap, but I guess I always thought rap of its own genre completely. But if you think about it, because it's really under hip hop, and hip hop technically could be a subgenre of rock, because considering if you think of songs from rappers, it's definitely samples from 70s stuff or any big stuff in the 60s and 50s, but like just originated from that sound too. It's just like bringing guitars and drums, but just having, instead of your lyrics, you're singing them. You're just wording them in like in a rap kind of way. I mean, hell, some people even thought of Bob Dylan as the first rapper with like his lyrics and stuff like that. I know with my mom, because I was telling this like to my mom, and she like just rolled her eyes because my mom is like not a Bob Dylan fan. She just can't stand him, and my dad has the total opposite view of Bob Dylan because my dad is a huge Bob Dylan fan. He's one of his favorite artists. I mean, I think with him, it's up there with Bob Dylan, the Grateful Dead, and the Beatles. But he'll probably tell me like there's other artists that like he thought of just as good. Like I know he loved this group of Hot Tuna, or what they were called, Hot Effin' Tuna. Okay, let me see. Oh, Triple Threat. Okay, the rappers that are in right now are the Grandmaster Flash, Beastie Boys, Public Enemy, Tupac, Biggie, and yeah. I mean, I guess like that's the thing. If you're gonna put like the Beastie Boys in there, then you gotta put Biggie Smalls in there. I mean, like because like I mean, because it's like they're definitely, because it's funny. Beastie Boys I think started out more doing like kind of punk. Like I feel like they were gonna be more like, from what I remember hearing, it seemed like they were more of like just gonna be like a band, instead of doing like the rapping and stuff like that. But the rapping I think is just what got them, like more recognized, even though they were actually apparently incredible musicians. I mean, some of their stuff is great. I mean, like License to Ill, like their first album. I mean, just a lot of great songs on there. I mean, you got Brass Monkey, Girls, of course the two biggest ones, No Sleep Till Brooklyn and Fight for Your Right, Paul Revere, and then it's funny. I was gonna say intergalactic, but I'm like, that I would be an idiot if I said that, because that came out 12 years later in like the 90s and stuff like that. Yeah, like the 90s stuff is good too. Like intergalactic, Sabotage, What You Want. What You Want is actually a really good one. I think that's probably better than probably one of the best ones. Best songs they do in the 90s. But Sabotage is actually pretty good. I mean, that I think is going more into their punk rock roots and stuff like that. All right, so that's pretty good. Oh yeah, I know what I wanted to mention with Dionne Warwick, because like the reason why I wanted to talk a little bit more about this, because I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is always such a good subject to talk about, but I found it funny because on SNL they were doing a sketch of with her and all that, and it was like the Dionne Warwick show, and I looked at it because I was wondering, like, is there a Dionne Warwick show? Because I'm like, that would be pretty cool, but no, there isn't. I mean, like, that would honestly be cool if there was a show. I'd watch that, because no, I think Dionne Warwick is great, but no, and it's just like, it's funny, like like, so the joke of the guests were like the Weekend, some other like Chainsmoke rap, who I'm not really, I don't know that much rapping, so yeah. But anyway, and she was really funny in it. Like, they started it with this song, I'll Never Love This Way Again, because apparently, okay, I don't want to get too political and stuff like that, but like no, because like with Rush Limbaugh dying, he in the 80s would do these these really like horrible like things of just like celebrating when people of AIDS died and stuff like that, and he would use that song, I Would Never Love This Way Again. I mean, no, it's just a horrible thing, and I don't want to get too into it, but so it started off with Dionne Warwick saying that, and you can guess that, like, why that was there. They didn't even mention Rush Limbaugh. You just knew that that's what the joke was. But no, I mean, no, serious. No, I mean, that's not what they were just like. It wasn't like that they were happy that he was dead. It was just they were joking with what he did, what the cruel thing that he did. It was just a joke of that, a parody of that, honestly, But because I mean, that's what comedy is if you think about it all together. It's making fun of like all the crazy things out there and the hypocrisy and all that, no, I mean, one thing I'll say about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too is like that, like, I do think that maybe it should not be called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame anymore, like maybe like more of the Pop Hall of Fame, because I know that like these artists who are popular now will eventually get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when like when they're eligible. I mean, hell, even if the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is still around, I don't, so many things could happen. Like it can get sold out, it can get turned down. I don't know what they might even change the name to like the Pop Hall of Fame. I don't know. I just think that might be the place because I think it's kind of like the name is kind of being like not the way it was, because like when it started, like it was honoring the 50s, the 60s artists, it was still called rock and roll. But I feel like it's hard now with the new artists now to call it rock and roll. I'm not saying that rock and roll is dead. Rock and roll, I just don't think is in the mainstream, like, radios, tunes and stuff like that. There are still like rock and roll bands around. I mean, but honestly, I feel like they're more independent though, they're not as much. And if there is like rock and roll stuff coming out, it's from like, the older artists that are still putting out stuff, like Paul McCartney just put out an album, McCartney 3, which I listened to. It's actually a pretty good album. Yeah, I mean, how like even like, Sting puts out some stuff, and yeah, like no, because they still are rocking and stuff like that, which is cool because cherish their music while it's still here. It's cool, like that these guys who started in the early 60s are still coming out and stuff. I mean, hell, Bob Dylan too. I mean, he put out that song JFK like right in the beginning of the pandemic. I mean, hell, I mean, no, which I haven't listened to it all the way through the 18-minute. Like, honestly, when I see something 18 minutes, I want to watch it, but I feel like I don't have time to it. Like, whenever it's a long video, so I always pull it off. Sometimes you really just have to like just watch it and then be like, no, like, and if you're at 6 minutes, it's like, no, just keep watching. You've gone this far. Don't turn off now because you'll never watch it again, and you want to keep watching it. So yeah, but no. So yeah, I thought of so I was watching 2 documentaries that I think are related to what I like to talk about on the channel, which is what I just talked about, rock music. Okay, so now one documentary I was watching was All Things Must Pass, which of course, if you're a music fan, you'll know that the name was probably from the George Harrison song, the George Harrison song and album All Things Must Pass, which was his first, solo album, which was considered like, the best post-Beatles album, some might say. But anyway, no, it was about these retail store called Tower Records, which was, one of the biggest music stores for basically like 40 years. And they started like in 1960. It was like, I think, founded by Russ Solomon. I think, that's when like that part of the era came around. And he died about 2 years ago. A documentary came out, I think, like 2015, and it was talking about how Russ Solomon just like had this journey to create this business and what the desire was. And the desire was like when he talked about like when he was like a teen in the 40s, there was like, I think his father had a drugstore, and they were talking about like, they realized there was a record player that they had there, and they thought that, and they were selling some used records. They thought that honestly they'd make more money if they sell some, just regular records. And he realized early on that that's what he wanted to do with his life. So then he, asked his father if he could help run the business and stuff like that. And his father, his father sold him the business. Like, he actually bought the business from his father, and he was the one that was paying the bills and stuff like that. I think, like, yeah, like Tower, they started off was like with the bookstore too. They had like a big chain and stuff like that. And yeah, and then when rock and roll music came around, it was like, kids. That's what was really getting kids excited, like younger kids. And of course, with rock and roll in the 50s, it was such a controversy of mixing African American and mixing black and whites together. That was what it was, mixing African American music with like white teens who were like so like into this stuff, like all these American kids who would have their like records like in their the story was, it was like they would have their Pat Boones up on their rooms so their parents would see that there wasn't the Pat Boone, but really like the record would be the Elvis, or Little Richard, or Little Richard, because of the time back then of how crazy it was with race, and I mean, hey, it's still an issue, but yeah, I agree they should change the name to the Popular Music. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I know we've talked about that before, Evan. Yeah, but no. So anyway, with everything with rock and roll, that's when record stores were like a good place to hang out and you could buy these records. Like if you see like movies of like those record stores and like because you don't see it as much now because the retail for music has changed so much. It's only becoming a little bit more popular again because vinyls are kind of making a comeback. But anyway, no. So what you call it? With going to so they had so they decided that in 1960 that they would open up this have records there and like have like the most popular records coming out, and around like I think the 60s it was becoming a big trend. And it was a place to hang out. You can listen to the records because you couldn't buy all of them because you couldn't afford all of them, and it was just becoming like a public hangout place. And it was really cool, I think, too, and really cool to join, like really just like because you could talk to people and really just get into like talk like into the music, and you could find your people that way, like that's how you've made friends, that because like everybody was trying to get like, oh, like we want to get like the new Bob Dylan album, the new Beatles album, all that. And like, yeah, it's just like that place was like, people's like, just like, it was like Disney World for them, I mean, it would have been for me too. It sucks that it ended when I was like, like just 6, and because I really didn't know that much about it, and like it really stinks because, and if it was still around, hell, I'd be working there. And it's funny because there were because Dave Grohl talks about it because he worked there, and he said that was the only job he could get where he could keep his long hair, and it was the perfect job for him because of being a guy who was already a huge like wanted to be a musician and all that. No, and yeah, he talked about how it's like people could be snobs in there, of the record store because, and like it's like, and some of the people who work there said it's like the jokes can be a little too out there, but it's like that was like the point of it. Like you kind of had to have a good sense of humor, and like jokes can sometimes go a little bit far, but that's like just how it was. I mean, and yeah, I mean that's kind of how it is in that kind of. I mean, with the music kind of fans and stuff like that, especially because like I will admit people can be snobs with their music, and I'll admit like even I can be too, like and stuff like that. I don't try to show it off as much, but no, like in the inside I'll be like, this person will be talking about something, I'm like, oh god, no, but I'm not gonna open up about it. But yeah, if I was in a record store, I probably would be a little bit more open about my snobbiness or yeah. I mean, it would be nice to work in a record store because it would be great, like to like show people around, recommend certain music to them. That would honestly be cool if I could have done that. Like I would love to just like recommend, oh, you gotta listen to this record, this is the best, check it out. And like, yeah, it's like here, I'll bring you up, like I would love to say stuff like that. I would love to do stuff like that, but hey, who knows. But yeah, no, like because it's funny because I made a post on Facebook of like yeah, if I worked at Barnes and Noble, like you guys would be in the best hands with yeah, because I would pick the best songs for you and the best music for you. And yeah, if anybody honestly too has a question of like what song or what group they should listen to, let me know, like from the 60s or 70s or 80s and all that stuff. If anybody wants some new music to listen to, give me a question, if you have it. All right, cool. All right, so we had some people who joined in. That's cool. Thank you for all the people supporting me right now with that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Another thing I want to talk about in that documentary was Elton John. Would talk about how it was just like one of his favorite stores, and like because Elton John's such a shopaholic. He was saying like he said like, this is with no exaggeration, I spent more money at Tower Records than any human being. I just thought that was hysterical because that's such an Elton John thing. Because Elton John just gets into a fad, he just gets into anything that's really like big going on. I mean, that's what's so great about him is because he kept up with the times and all that. And no, he just loves like like any like cool like scene going around and stuff like that. Like, and yeah, like the story was it was like because they opened at 9 and he would go in with his limo driver. His limo driver would hold this like big box, and he would just like pick out the records, and sometimes he pick out two of the same records for each of his houses. I mean, yeah, how funny is that? Yeah, I mean that is a label of a shopaholic there, but like, well, that's the joke too. If you've seen the movie Rocket Man, they like they say because Elton John suffered from drug addiction for like about 16 years, and now is over 30 years sober, and yeah, and they talked about it in the movie how he's sober, but he's still a shopaholic. But yeah, no, I found that funny. Which it's funny because they actually do have a Shoppers Anonymous. Like that's the same with like gambling too. But okay, I'm getting off topic there. But no, it's a great movie. You get to check it out. Colin Hanks directed it. Yeah, like I think like wait, hold on a second. Yeah, yeah, no, because I was like, I know it had to be like Tom Hanks on Colin Hanks, but I don't know because I don't think there's another Colin Hanks. But yeah, no, I mean that's yeah, because like it's a really good really good documentary, and really it'd be good to check it out. And like the people who like worked there really like even like you could just tell like what their personality was like probably back then, and that like they weren't always like that friendly, and like always probably had the best people skills, and it was just like you could tell that like they hadn't changed like who they were, just like they were still like it's like they still had that part of them. And I think that's like almost because working in that store, it was like it's like you didn't have to technically it's like you didn't have to work your day in your life, because if you love what you do, then it's not really work, and people loved going there and just like doing that. I mean, hell, that would have been such a great job, and such a great, I mean, God, I mean, it would have been awesome, but it's like that's what's good about the title, is all things must pass. Unfortunately, all good things out there do come to an end, and all that. So let me just see. Okay, all right. Let's see. Okay. Okay, yeah. It was Tom Hanks' son. Yeah, Tom Hanks' son. Actually, I gotta say, like honestly, it really does like sound like Tom Hanks. It's actually really funny. Oh wait, oh my God, we got too much people. How much do you weigh? Who are the four schoolboys on that poster behind you? The Beatles, and yeah, yeah. If you want to be rude, go ahead. I mean, it's probably not going to get you anywhere in life, but go ahead, and if you want to know my weight, that's none of your business. But yeah, hey, all right, yeah. No, so whatchamacallit? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no. But another documentary I want to talk about is whatchamacallit. Okay, this documentary is I can't believe I blanked for a second. It's the Wrecking Crew. It was directed by the yeah, whatchamacallit. I don't know who. Oh no, it was directed by a son of one of the guys who was the member of the band, which was Tommy Lasorda, something like that. Yeah, he was a guitar player, and yeah, no, it was really good. Yeah, he was one of the session players in there. So okay, let me explain who the Wrecking Crew is, because you might not know who that is. The Wrecking Crew was this big band in LA. They were like the most professional musicians out there. Okay, and they had like basically any song you can think of in the 60s, they played on it. And yeah, like, and it was like a huge band we're talking about. They couldn't even remember how many members were in the band. That's how funny it is. So yeah, whatchamacallit? It was yeah, they had Hal Blaine as the drummer, Carol Kay as bass, but they had so many other people too, and all that. So it's really it's really fun and really interesting documentary. I think you should definitely give it a try. Yeah, and another thing I want to talk about with it, because yeah, so yeah, like the two people who I mentioned, like Carol Kay and Hal Blaine, are probably the two like most like outspoken from the group. But there were other people too, like Joe Osborne, who played bass. Glenn Campbell was in it before he actually broke it out as a solo musician. Some musicians actually were big that were in the Wrecking Crew, like Leon Russell too. Leon Russell was also really big and all that. Yeah, no, hey, whatchamacallit? Yeah, no, it was a really good thing to be a part of and all that. And yeah, I mean, and no, they talked about how like it was like even though they didn't really get credit on the records as much, they didn't care because they were making money and paying the bills, and they were making good money. I mean, they were really like, like Carol Kay made a joke saying that it was like I was well, not made a joke, but she was saying like as a fact in that time she was making more money than the president of the United States. And like one of the guys I like was joking saying that like if he and her got married, they would kill everybody because their like their fortune was just incredible, and all that like combined with her money that she had and the money that he had, like yeah, no, and yeah. So some songs I'll recommend, I'll mention that they were on. Yeah, like basically every big song on the '60s. So like You've Lost That Love and Feeling, they played on it. Be My Baby, they played on it. Yeah, Be My Baby by the Ronettes, Righteous Brothers, You Lost That Love and Feeling. Sonny and Cher, The Beat Goes On, they played on that. Basically every big Beach Boy song they played on. And that's like the thing that was the real turning point in the documentary, which honestly is how I got into them actually, was from because I knew that they were a part of the Beach Boys. And that was just the most incredible thing, because whatchamacallit, they played they were on the Pet Sounds album. And the funniest thing is because the Beach Boys, when you think of them as more of a vocal group, but they're not really that much of a vocal group. They are, well, yeah, they were, but they also were a rock band too. Like they did play instruments, but they weren't all skilled well. Actually, but the only one that was really like skilled musicians, I would say, were probably Brian Wilson and Carl Wilson. Carl Wilson was actually a pretty good guitarist. Dennis was on drums because the funniest thing was like the mother, because Brian, Carl, and Dennis were brothers. Mike Love was a cousin, and Al Jardine was just a friend of Brian's. And so what happened was Al Jardine, like Al Jardine joined in, but then he left. And then Carl Wilson's friend David Marks came in. Carl's friend. Yeah, I think that's it. Carl Marks. Okay, no, never mind. It doesn't matter. Yeah, no. So yeah, David Marks was a neighbor that played guitar with Carl, because I think they were in like guitar lessons or something like that together, and like yeah, they were around the same age. I mean, David Marks was like 13 when he played with them on Surfing Safari in 1962. He played on Surfing Safari and Surfing USA. And the guy was like, you just a beginning, like just an early teenager, like, and no. So that's cool. But yeah, no. So Brian, as the musical genius and basically the leader of the group, he really wanted the Beach Boys to go further, because the thing about the Beach Boys too is that they didn't have because if you think about it, you think that they were guys who surfed like all the time and stuff like that. And that's not the case. Dennis Wilson was the only one that surfed, Brian Wilson hated the beach. No, but it was just a good name that fit with it. A good name that fit with them that they didn't actually even come up with. They were called the Pendletons because it was a play on, the Pendletones. It was a play on Dick Dale and the Deltones, which was instrumental group that was playing at the time, and and then there was the God, I am off. I'm a stumbler. And the Pendleton shirts. That's what it was a play on. The Pendleton shirts and Dick Dale and Deltones. So anyway, yeah, they do that. They that's their name. They are recording a record called Surfin'. Then I think it was the guy who decided to name them the Beach Boys actually was a promoter, I think, or in the studio, or a record executive for Elton John, Russ Regan. Russ Regan was the one that decided, why don't we call them the Beach Boys? Because of surf and all that, and that's how the name came by, and it just stuck. And hey, it's still a good name, yeah. But Brian just felt, as being producer of the band, that he felt like he would get a better sound from the Wrecking Crew, because the Wrecking Crew started from people like Phil Spector, who was the biggest producer at the time. He's also he's also a murderer, but yeah, that's not relevant for what we're talking about. And yeah, he actually did just die, but anyway, so never mind. But yeah, well, suspected murder. I mean, he was proven guilty, so yeah, that shows you there. But whatchamacallit? No, so anyway, yeah, Brian Wilson was a huge fan of Phil Spector, heard this sound coming from, because Phil Spector had the wall of sound, and and of course the help of that wall of the sound was the Wrecking Crew, and so they were already big playing on stuff. I mean, they were already professionals before in the 50s and doing stuff like that, and playing with, like, Hal Blaine said he played with the Platters in the 50s. Carol Kay played on Richie Valens' Bomba, like the guitar on that. And also, not just that, but she played on Sam Cooke's Summertime. So yeah, no. So these were professional people. They were no like amateurs at all. And the funniest thing was, like, the talk of more of, like, how some of the people in the band would be like, like Gary Lewis and the Playboys, who was actually Jerry Lewis's son. They had them play in the instrument tracks for them, and they would just technically do the vocals. Like Gary Lewis talked about that they would just, like, record, like, a sample of the group, and then they would do the rest and basically do the whole record. And, like, one of the guys was saying that, like, because Tommy Lasorda was the one. Am I saying this right? I hope I'm saying his name right. That was a joke, actually, when he died, because they got his name wrong when he died. But I hope I say it right. I know, because I want to respect the name and all that. But anyway, yeah, no. So anyway, when he so, like, when one of the guys when it came out, Tommy Lasorda played this, like, really, like, interesting, like, Spanish kind of guitar style, and the guy in the band was saying, like, I can't play that, like I could have never done that, and, like, people were, like, complimenting him, and he goes, like, I don't know what to tell them, and he's like just take the credit for it, and no, it's very, very funny and all that. So it's cool, and whatchamacallit, it's a great documentary. Oh God, I am losing track here for what I have to say. With Brian Wilson, though, is he knew that he would get a better sound with them. So what they would do is that the band was, because Brian Wilson actually had a nervous breakdown, and decided, like, that he would no longer tour with the group, and around in let's see, like in the end of 1964. So Glenn Campbell actually went in and filled for Brian Wilson, and then came back as a studio musician, and then Bruce Johnston joined the Beach Boys, and filled in for Brian on the rest of those shows, and and then became a full member of the band and all that. And then Glenn Campbell, of course, became a solo artist after, and like later on, especially big in the 70s. But he Brian just knew that he would get a better sound with session musicians that were were professionals, because they weren't professionals, as I said. Like Dennis was basically picked because his mother wanted. Brian's mother said, like, hey, like, you need to have Denny in the band, like, let him join. I want you to let him join. And they let him join, and it was like, basically, I think because he wasn't really a musician, so he's like, well, what do I do? And then Brian's like, all right, you can be the drummer. And, like, he did learn how to play the drums, and he did actually, he did play the drums on certain records, like Servant Safari and Servant USA, and it's not bad, but when you hear somebody like Hal Blaine play, I mean, it's, 10 times different in a good way, because, like, also, too, Hal Blaine, too, has been considered, like, one of the best drummers of all time as well. And, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think, like, they claimed it on, like, Rolling Stone. I mean, unfortunately, he died about 2 years ago. I mean, he lived a good life. I mean, he was 90 and all that. But yeah, I mean, he was very interesting to hear from in the documentary. And it's just it's definitely something that you should check out. And I thought these two documentaries would be good to talk about, because music related, and and we need something to watch around this time. Everything with. I feel like when times are rough, this is the time to, get knowledgeable and, start, becoming more intellectual around stuff, and getting, and learning more and more about that. And I think it's time to open up your mind, stop playing Fortnite all the time, people. Yeah, I'm talking to you 13-year-old kids. Yeah, stop playing Fortnite all the time. I mean it. It ruins your brain and all that. Learn about Woodstock. the Beatles playing Ed Sullivan, just anything good about that. Learn a little bit about a history with the music. Like learn about Blowing in the Wind. What does that mean? Or Sam Cooke's A Change Is Gonna Come. I can go all day with that. We are heading into about almost an hour of this, so I am going to stop right there. And thank you for all the people that watched. And yeah, I appreciate all that, and I even appreciate the heckler I had too. Yeah, no, hey, when you have hecklers, that just shows you're doing good. Hey, all right. Well, I will see you later. Bye, and yeah, all right. See you guys in the next live stream or video or whatever. All right. See you guys later. Signing off.